Right. So we have completed the basic logical programming, conditional statements, if else, if, and nested if. Let me introduce you object-oriented programming first. So once you are good at object-oriented programming, then we will implement the logics inside the object-oriented programming. Because so on the day one, I explained clearly why we are learning programming means just for developing applications, simply to say software. You know that software is a set of programs, like application is a collection of programs. So what a program consists, suppose if you take a class is a account class in banking application. So this is one program. Consider program consists variables. Program consists variables. Here it is. Suppose I am taking the balance. Variable holds the information. The next one is methods to perform operation. Suppose if you want to deposit some amount, that deposit amount will be added to the balance. The deposit amount will be added to the balance. This is the logic inside arithmetic operator. Of course, briefly I'll explain, you don't worry. But I just make it shorten and I'm explaining. Suppose if you are trying to perform withdraw operation, some amount you are trying to withdraw. You are trying to withdraw. If the amount is less than or equals to the balance, then we allow, okay, take cash. Then deduct the amount balance is equals to balance minus amount. In case if it is not there, just giving the low balance error. See what I'm trying to say. Whenever you are implementing the programs, right? I already told you that program consists variables to store the data and program consists methods to perform the operations. But what you will write inside the methods means logical programming. This is arithmetic operators concept. This is conditional statements. So we already good at logical programming little bit. So along with that, let me introduce you today object-oriented programming, classes, inside the classes, variables and methods. What all the concepts which are present. Okay, now come to the concept of object-oriented programming. Object-oriented programming, that is. See here, so what is object-oriented programming? Defining objects and establish communication between them. Let me simplify first. Suppose here, as a faculty, I'm taking the class. Okay. Now, this is faculty. This is faculty. Is using the laptop. Is using the laptop and taking the class. Now here it is number of students attending the class. Sorry. Number of students attending the class. Okay. Using their laptops, desktops or mobiles. One student is a desktop. One student is a mobile considered. Now what is application means? The program. The faculty is one object. That laptop is one object. A student using desktop suppose is one object. The person, student, is one object. is another student is one object, and using the mobile is one object. All these are programs. You have to implement these objects one by one individually. Then we establish the relation between the objects. Establish the relation between the objects is called communication. This totally we can call it as a object oriented application. It's completely called object oriented application. Why? Applications always for communication only. What is the purpose of WhatsApp? Communication. Purpose of Facebook? Communication. Purpose of a banking application is communication. We are indirectly communicating with the bank personnel to perform our transactions. Simple. Okay. Now see here. Now, how can we implement object-oriented programming? To implement object-oriented programming, we must learn two things: object and class. Object and class. Not a big thing. It's very simple one. First of all, let me explain that object in a simple way. Suppose I just want to construct one house. I just want to construct one house. Will you start construction directly? No, definitely not. Suppose if any company want to launch a mobile, will they start manufacturing of the mobile directly? Definitely not. Then what they will do first? First of all, they will prepare one model. They will prepare one model. That is. So this is a model to construct the final house. Okay. With the help of model only. That model is called simply class. As model is called blueprint. Blueprint. Model is called template. Right? These are the models. Once the model is ready, you can construct that house is called object. Right here, under one model, any number of objects we can construct, but of similar type. That is. Suppose here it is a model. Just consider this is iPhone 14. That model is a 14. But under the model 14, right, you can construct you can manufacture lakhs of mobiles. Lakhs of mobiles under only one model. So that's why you can see that what is an object means what is object means, class means collection of similar objects. But of course, you should not use this. You can read this in some of the websites. Simply to say what is a class, it's a representation of object. It's just a model. Class is a model. Without class, object creation is impossible. So first we are writing classes. First we prepare the models. Then we construct the objects from the models. These are the things we need to understand first in object-oriented programming. The next one is object-oriented programming has 4 features. What are the features? One is encapsulation. Second one is inheritance. Third one is abstraction. Fourth one is polymorphism. See, programmatically is later. Just wait. Someone messaged. Let me check. See, how can we define object and all will come. So don't worry. But as we are in theory first, definitions I'm explaining. Once we enter into the programming part, what is a class programmatically? How can we create the object? What will happen when object is created? Where the memory is allocated? How can we check the locations? Every single thing I'll explain. You don't worry about that. But first, what is object-oriented programming? How can we implement object-oriented programming? What are the features of object-oriented programming? One by one, we are learning. The first one is encapsulation. Sir, what is encapsulation? Encapsulation is just protection. See, suppose if there is one person, is an object, one person, okay, and is another object is there. Another object is there. The first point is in this world, one object information is not visible to another object directly. Suppose whenever you are walking on the road, you can see n number of people. But remember the point, right? Only the object is visible, the person is visible, only the person is visible, but that information of that person is not visible. Can you tell the name of the person? Definitely not. The age, address, mobile number, account number, impossible. So that is what normal protection. One person cannot access the information of another person directly. Another person directly. It is impossible to access. The same protection we are implementing in application. That is called encapsulation. Sir, how can we, sir? That is later. Some POSIX rules are there. Access modifier concept is there. Using all these concepts, we will implement. But encapsulation means protecting the object information from outside access. So then how they can access? They have to communicate. For example, I'm taking the class, right? Right? Suppose whatever the information which is in my mind, it's not visible to you. And whatever the information in your mind is not visible to me. Then how can we share our information? How you will get my information? See, we are communicating now. I'm just taking the class. You are listening that class. This is what we call the communication process. Encapsulation is protecting the object direct access, right? I cannot access your information directly, but I can request now. Please tell me your name so that you will tell your name. Tell your mobile number so that you will tell your mobile number. That's what communication. Okay. The next one is inheritance concept. Inheritance. So what is inheritance? See, something which is already present. iPhone 14 is there. iPhone 14. So much code already written for this one to develop the iPhone 14 software, which is already in the market. Now company want to launch iPhone 15 into the market. It's a with a new software. Will they start coding from the beginning? Definitely not. They will reuse this code into the 15. That is nothing but inherit, extends, enhance, update, any name you can use. Any name you can use. reusing the existing functionality in the creation of new object, right? In the process of developing iPhone 15 software, we are reusing the functionality of iPhone 14. So much code, lakhs of lines of code is already there. Why I should write it again? Let me let me inherit. Let me reuse the same thing, right? So that is the concept of inheritance. Suppose there is one person. By enhancing the skills, the person become student. By enhancing the skills, that student become an employee. By enhancing the skills, employee become manager. By enhancing the skills, manager becomes suppose CEO of the company. Imagine every time the person is updating the skills. So CEO become a manager, working like a manager, working like an employee, working like a student, or working like a person also. Working like a person also. That is what enhancement. Whenever defining that next, of course, definitions I'll write. All the four definitions I'll write at a time. You don't worry. Okay. The next one is abstraction. So what is abstraction? Everyone saying that hiding. Yes, hiding, of course. But what is hiding? What is hiding? Right? See, suppose this is the screen of ATM machine. Here, one option is there, withdraw button option is there. Withdraw. Now the two people looking at that button, looking at the button, right? The two people, one person is user, end user, without any programming knowledge. Second person is a programmer who developed the project or just a program. The way they look at the button is easily representing the abstraction. What end user think and what programmer will think. End user thinks like a right here by clicking the button we can perform withdraw transaction. We can withdraw from account. So what is happening in the background? They don't know. Actually, end user don't know what is happening. Now programmer is thinking like that. It's not just a button. It's a method. When they click on that method, it will take the necessary input. So nothing but card details, PIN number, how much amount you want to withdraw is connecting to the database. After that, it will check all correct or not. Then it will release the cash, from the machine, update and release the card. So the person thinking, okay, there is a lot of code behind this simple withdraw method. That is programmer point of view. End user point of view, it's just a button. If I want to perform the transaction, I need to click on that button. Simple way, right? See, abstraction is hiding unnecessary details to end user, not programmer. Very important. In front of the programmer, nothing is there to hide. Nothing. Nothing is there to hide. Okay. So we need to hide in front of the end user only, who is using. So all unnecessary implementations, simply we are hiding to the end user. See, just consider mobile. What is the use of the panel? Reason is what? Who is using that mobile? End user. No need to know what all the parts inside the mobile. What is the color of the RAM? What is the size of the hard drive? Right? Motherboard size, motherboard color, right? All these things not required. Unnecessary things. What is required? Only screen for communication purpose. So hiding implementations of application in front of the end user is called abstraction. Is called abstraction. That is. See, the last one is what is polymorphism? What is polymorphism? So first, so what is polymorphism? It is also very simple. Suppose one person is there, whatever the name, one person is there. The person is communicating with the different persons, communicating with the different persons. So what is that communication? Suppose simply the person is talking. The person is talking with the different people. Whoever the person is one object. Suppose name I am giving. The person is talking with the father. The person is talking with the friend. The person is talking with the sister. Talking, talking, talking. Same behavior now. Talking, talking, talking. But the way of talking will change depends on input. If talking with the father, respect, different behavior. Talking with a friend, fun, different behavior. Talking with the sister is care. That's all. Simple way. The way of talking, the way of behavior will change. That is polymorphic behavior. Under the same name only, talking only. Right? How you will talk depends on input. Right? I'll talk with my superior in a different way. I'll talk with my family members in a different way. I'll talk with the students in a different way. That's my behavior. My behavior, the way of talking will change from person to person. Depends on input. That's all. So now clearly, let me explain clearly. Here it is. What is encapsulation? Protecting. Protecting object information from other objects in communication. In a communication. Simple way, if anyone asks what is encapsulation, is protecting the data. Capsule, what is the difference between a tablet and capsule? Tablet and capsule. Tablet substance is visible directly and you can touch it directly. Capsule means what? There is a cap. It's a protected information. Whatever the substance which is inside that capsule is a sensitive and need to be protected. That's why the concept is coming from the capsule. Simple. Inheritance. So what is the concept of inheritance? Reusing. Reusing the functionality of existing object in the creation of new object. In the creation of new object. That's all. That is what inheritance concept. So what is abstraction? Hiding unnecessary implementations. or hiding implementation, simply hiding implementations and shows only essential features, essential things in communication, essential things in communication. That's all. That is abstraction. So what is polymorphism? Polymorphism means what? One object shows different behavior. Different behavior means functionality. Is a functionality. Different behavior with the same name. With the same name. Depends on input. That is. Okay. These are the four concepts of object-oriented program. So these are the major questions they will expect. What is object-oriented programming? How can we implement object-oriented programming using class and object? What all the features of object-oriented programming, encapsulation, inheritance, abstraction, and polymorphism. These are the major questions. Okay, right. See, the next concept is what? This is also a very, very important one. What is that? Every application has two contexts. Every application has two contexts. Sir, first of all, what are the two contexts? It's very simple one. Remember that. One is a static context and next one is a dynamic. We can also call it as a instance or some faculties also called non-static. Any name you can use, of course. Static and dynamic. So very easy thing. So how to remember static and dynamic? What is comes under static and dynamic? Everything. Suppose here it is. This is the classroom and this is a reception inquiry room. Suppose about the class you want to join and this is the complete building. This is complete building. Here it is a this one is a reception and this one is a classroom. And now that student want to inquire and enter into the classroom, everyone should enter into the free accessible area. Static is always free accessible area. No restrictions here. No one will restrict you. So when student enter, first a student always enter into that static area. From the static area, by taking the permissions, student enters into dynamic area. It's a classroom. It's a dynamic area. Here, with permissions only we can access. Always with permissions we access. Simply. Reception and classroom. So one more example. Suppose this is a shopping mall. This is a shopping mall. In shopping mall, here it is I just want to watch a movie. Okay. So one room I just considered as a theater, and one room I just considered as a box office. So everyone should enter into the box office first to get the ticket. So to enter into the box office, no restrictions. So first, from the box office, we just get the tickets permissions. With those permissions only, you can enter into the dynamic area, which is called theater. This is generalized statement, right? Normally, I explained two examples. So what is that? Regular technical example. Suppose I'm taking Gmail application, anything, Gmail. In this application, sir, I don't have a Gmail account. Can I open Gmail? Of course you can open, because everyone can access the login page of Gmail. If you just having internet connection, if you just having internet connection and browser, everyone can open. But once you open the login page, here first it will ask if you have account, happy. If you don't have account, register first. Once your registration completed with all your details, then it will ask enter your username, enter your username, enter your password, then click on login button. The first one is a free accessible area. That free accessible area is called static. After submitting your login details with permissions, you can enter into your inbox area, which is dynamic. Inbox area, which is dynamic. So either you try to understand the concept is a technically, or you can understand the concept in more general way. Every application has two contexts. Every application has two contexts. Sir, what is context? Context area, simply to say place. Simply to say place. It has two contexts. What are those? Static and instance, or dynamic or non-static. Any word you can use clearly. So variables also, I already told you, inside the class you are writing variables and methods. So variables also, static variables, instance variables. Methods also, static methods and instance methods. That's it. Sir, what is comes under static and what is comes under instance? You are saying variables and methods now. Definitely all these concepts we will discuss. You don't worry. Okay. So mostly what all the questions you have to answer by today concept. What is object oriented programming? What is object oriented programming? How can we implement object oriented programming? What is class? Define class. Define object. Define object. What are object oriented programming features? What is encapsulation? Define encapsulation. Define inheritance. Define abstraction. Define polymorphism. How many contexts we have? What is the difference between static and instance? All these questions you should able to answer. So I'll upload the video now. I'll share the video to all of your groups. So please practice well. Read all the theory part, because from the next session onwards, I'll explain the complete programming of object-oriented programming, where we will discuss briefly variables, classes, objects, creation of objects. So many other concepts are there, like constructors. Every single point we'll discuss. You don't worry. Hope you understood the today theoretical concept.